3, 2, 1, go.
Hello there, and welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Force podcast, a podcast from 3 Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. We have our own limited series talking about every episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, focusing today on part 3, and wow, what an episode. Wow. But before we get there, we would like to introduce our guest for the evening, the mistress of mischief herself, Portia from Sistas with Sabers. So welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. I'm really excited to talk about what we're going to be talking about today. Like, I'm really itching to,
I know.
you know?
Right?
I know.
It's like so
that's
much. How I feel like. Yeah, it's like I live by myself. So like I try to watch the show first thing in the morning. I was just like, I need to text people immediately because I need to talk about it. And no one's seen it yet because like they're at work. So it's just like, oh my God. So it's finally the time has come.
Yes.
And how blessed are we that we can talk about it together, but more importantly, to talk about it with you. So welcome to the Triad. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So we're so lucky to have you here from Sistas, and we've had Maria before last year, also from Sistas, and it was such a great conversation. So we're so happy to like keep bringing in the Sistas in here to kind of keep perspective going, because as anyone knows from like our podcast, we'd like to always be inviting people that are standing up for cause and like are underrepresented, or like our groups of podcasters that are not the podcasters that everyone's looking at. So we're like to foment that and like keep that family going.
Yes.
So, like we're so happy to like bring you in, because you guys do such an excellent job at like what you're doing. So for people that might not remember Maria's episode and like when she discussed a little bit about what Sistas with Sabers do, why don't you like introduce yourself a little bit for like our listeners and tell us a little bit about Sistas with Sabers?
Well, Sistas with Sabers is basically a podcast created by Black women for Black women, an inclusion to have Black women, to let people know that, we're here. We're the fans, we have been here for a long time. It's just people haven't been noticing or, keeping an eye open out for other people. Joining this podcast is actually like a great opportunity for me because growing up as a kid, I was a big fan of anime, and whenever I would tell people about it, especially with my girlfriends at the time, they would look at me weird and just be like, oh, you're into that weird stuff, white people watch that. And I'm like, no, it's for everybody. Like, you should try it out and like it. But I had a few guy friends who were into it as well. So like I had my little circle, and I always felt like an outcast whenever I was with any other girls who would be, they'll be into like boys and stuff. Like, I'm like, I'm not really into that at the moment. Like, I'm into anime. Like, I love it.
I'm busy.
Yes. Just waiting every Saturday for the new episode of Bleach or whatever anime was coming out at the time.
I can't wait for Bleach to come back. I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm excited for that.
I'm a huge anime nerd too, so we should be friends.
And
you need to open a Twitter, Nani. This is why you need Twitter.
Yes. But like throughout the years, I've always felt like an outcast. Every time I had a group of girlfriends, it was just always, she's a little different. So I'm just like, okay. But then that's when I ended up finding out about the tweet that Maria had sent out to, start the podcast. I was like, hold on, this is a perfect opportunity for me to join this. And we were in the group chat for like, I can't remember, it was for like maybe a couple of months in, and then all of a sudden we just had this conversation, and I was like, it was like a really deep conversation, and I ended up telling them my situation, and we're like, I was expecting them to come back with something, because most likely some people would tease me about this whole thing, and they didn't say anything. They just were like, no, it's best you go and get this done. Go get this checked out because this is what you're supposed to do. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, y'all, I found my home. I found my home. Nobody judged me on what I said. Y'all just gave me advice on what I needed to do. And then from then on, I was just like, this is it. This is my second family. These are my people. I finally have found my people after so many years. So
that sounds so Star Wars. I just got like
I
Rebels
know.
vibes from it. It's just like, okay, finding the people you're meant to be
family.
with.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
What's more Star Wars than that? Holy crap, that's beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
love that. Yeah, I love that.
And you guys have had such a great journey, I feel, because we were lucky to kind of somehow, luckily, like in the Twitter community, fall within like the group of podcasters that we're all with. And obviously, you guys are a part of that, and it's such a inclusive and uplifting community. So it's just kind of beautiful to see like how everyone is like succeeding in their own way and kind of finding their niche, but still, but still having, we all have like our little family within the podcast, but we're all like have like our branch of extended family within all those different podcasts, yours included with ours, I think, because I think the sisters are our family too. So it's very good what you guys are doing, and very happy that we get to share it with you today and with Maria last time. So hopefully more of the sisters can keep coming here, so we can, because we're together stronger. So that's the important part. But let's go into like something that's a little bit difficult to talk about right now. And we were talking about it last, when did our episode come out? On Wednesday, when we were talking with Jerry a little bit. We were talking about the whole Moses Ingram thing that's happening within the fandom, within certain parts of the fandom, because our part of the fandom is throwing a lot of love. But now like the new thing that's happening is just the whole review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which I think it's so disheartening. Like we said last time, after Celebration and that love fest of fans coming together to be positive, now it's just this group of fans that are mobilizing to be destructive. Thankfully, this is the type of destruction that doesn't ultimately matter for society, but it's just disheartening to see, because it's like, hey, you can put that energy of mobilizing to do something towards something positive. Like, for example, like you guys were doing with There Are More of Us fundraisers, just like, hey, put your energy into something like that. And like these groups just don't do that. And it's just odd to see like how some people want to invest their time in Star Wars instead of building and being constructive and building bridges. Some people just want to tear down, and it's not what Star Wars is about. So it's odd. I don't know if anyone had like any thoughts on that. Portia, did you have any particular thoughts on what's going on, especially with this whole Rotten Tomatoes stuff? I know it's childish, but it's important to address.
It's horrible. I honestly, that's the thing about this fandom. Like, okay, I love it, but then at the same time, I hate it, because there's so much negativity going on within it. And I'm just like, we're supposed to love this. We're not supposed to hate it. You're supposed to show support for it in regardless. Because I was just recently having a conversation with my brother about this whole situation with Moses. And me and my brother was like, do you ever remember a time where we didn't like a character? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, we never acted out like this. We never went on Twitter or on the internet or just were talking to each other. We're like, we hate this character. I hate this character. And decided to send so much hate to the actor as well. But if it was a character I didn't like, I'm like, okay, this person is doing a wonderful job at making me hate them. I give them a thumbs up because they're doing their part. And it's just annoying how she's putting so much work and effort into bringing this character to life, and she's getting knocked down by these people who so-called say that her character is written poorly, or
what does that mean?
That's my question, because like it was crazy when they ended up showing us the little picture of her. We just got a picture of her, and people, I saw mainly a lot of 50-year-old white men were saying, oh, I have a feeling this character is going to be written poorly. And I'm like, you haven't even given it a chance. You haven't given her a chance to actually come out and do her part in the first episode. You're just judging it right off the bat, just from a picture. People were saying her costume looked horrible. And I'm just like,
Looks
Come
awesome.
on.
It looks
It looks
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because I remember, and then speaking of her hair as well, I remember my mom ended up freshly retwisting my hair, and she just decided to just doing this style for me. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, ooh, I'm feeling this. And I'm like, wait, this looks familiar. And I'm like, wait, this is the third sister. This is Reva. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, I got to take a picture. I let the world know this is my girl. I love her even before she even started. So that was just within that moment, she just became an important character to me. And I was just like, I'm protective of her. I'm protective of the actress Moses. It's special. I hold her, both her and the character close to my heart. So it's like seeing myself on screen after so long of not being able to see someone that looked like me, and someone who actually has a story, and a background, not just someone who's being told, oh, you're going to be this character, like not so much of a character, but just being advertised on a poster, holding a lightsaber, and then
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna put them in a coma for a while and have them run around screaming, Ray, Ray. No, I don't want that. I want a character who has a backstory.
Yeah, a character with depth. And I feel like it's been a very believable character, especially for a character that we've never met before, and we've only had 3 episodes to get to know this character. It's a very believable, very relatable character. So the people that are hating on it, I have no idea where it's coming from. It's not coming from criticizing writing or acting skills, because that's not where it's coming from. It's coming from a darker place. So
very dark, because I was just like, come on, like it's just horrible. Like everybody's just they were like, oh, we're just giving her constructive criticism. That's not what you're doing. No, you're just using this opportunity to be racist. And I'm just like, it's sickening. It's disgusting. And I'm tired of it. We went through it with Jake, Hayden, who else was it? It was another person, the guy who played as Jar Jar. I always tend to forget his name. Him, John Boyega, especially, Kellerman Tran.
Daisy got it too.
Yes, everybody got it. And I'm just like, come on. And I ended up making a video about what Lucasfilms ended up telling her at the time as well, about how, no, there's going to be racism in the fandom. And I'm like, no, that's not how you do it. And it was upsetting. And then I saw the tweet like maybe 2 days ago. It was like 2:00 in the morning. And I started crying. I'm like, yes, this is what I'm expecting. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone to stand up and stand beside her and tell them that this is unacceptable within this fandom. Regardless if you so-called say you're a fan, you're not a fan if you're going to sit up here and send death threats to this woman for bringing a character, for doing her job practically. So,
which is the interesting thing. It's like, oh, we're just being constructive. If you're being constructive, you don't do that by like attacking the person personally for like who they are. She was like, well, then if you don't like the character, keep it about the character. Don't attack the actor, because then you're kind of showing your true colors at that point. Because it's like, then why are we going that far if it's just about the character and the performance? You can just be like, oh well, I don't know. It's very odd, very disheartening, but it's also good to see that Lucasfilm finally is growing a backbone and kind of going to bat for their actor and protecting them. They could do more, 100%, because we can always do more. But it's good to see, not just that tweet, but also the message from Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, Ewan McGregor, going out to bat for Moses. That was beautiful, especially that part when Ewan says like, hey, if you're doing these things, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. I'm like, oh boy, there we go. That was the good stuff. And even I don't watch the new Star Trek show, but even the captain from the Star Trek show also went up to bat. So it's just multi-platforms right now. It's just like Star Trek, Star Wars together at last for a good cause. So so there is you imagine how wrong you are when Star Trek comes together with Star Wars or against you. But it's disheartening. And we hope that we want to be the change in the world that we want to see. So we all have to do our part and like do whatever we can to stop those things and educate people to be more compassionate and more open and just, try to live life a little bit with more love and less hate. So we try as much as we can. So it's all about it's not about winning the fight immediately, it's about winning the battles. And I think slowly but surely we're doing that. And obviously we can go on forever talking about this, but we need to talk about something that happened yesterday, or 2 days ago, and it's just another beautiful performance from Moses in this little show called Obi-Wan Kenobi, in episode part 3. I love that they're not naming the episodes, which was an episode. Holy crap! I have thoughts. Obviously, but if you let me, I'll just talk forever. So let's start with everyone's initial reaction to it. Mo, what did you think of that episode going in? Did it blow your mind, or were you lukewarm to it? I love saying lukewarm because it's just like a nice Luke Skywalker pun.
It has a nice ring to it.
It does.
No, I think it was a beautiful episode. We have finally seeing what was the aftermath of this whole debacle that happened between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Apart from the Empire and everything, this is a very deeply personal relationship that we're seeing. It's a 10-year conclusion or reimagination of what happened. Both Obi-Wan is defeated, morally, mentally, spiritually, and all you get from Anakin is just pure hatred. Forget younglings. This is scary. Obi-Wan was running with tails between
he's like, I'm out. The Jedi Order's not paying me anymore. This is not my job.
But even with all of that, there's still opportunity for a lot of other characters to shine. We see the backlash going on, the power struggle between the siblings. We see that going on. We still see that growing relationship between. It's a beautiful Obi-Wan Leia relationship where Leia's the one that's slowly bringing Obi-Wan back to life. If it can be placed that way, it's the other way around. You usually have the old mentor pushing the young one to strive for the potential, but here's the other way around. We're seeing a Leia that's confident that they're still learning and everything, but they're the ones pushing this old person to hey, you need to step up the game. There's a lot of things going on, and I love that reversal that. And there's this whole mystery still going on with Reva now. I'm wait, what are your intentions? Because even I thought it was a very dark-sided character, but now I'm even doubtful. Does she just want revenge? Is she trying to get as near as Vader as possible because of everything she went through? And that was her. So I just love the whole aura of mystery this episode has. It's tense. It's you feel you're oh shit, Vader's gonna come and slice me at any moment.
Because we do know they will show the slicing. Because of that poor stormtrooper, we know that they're not gonna shy away from showing you getting sliced. Portia, what about you? What was your reaction to the episode?
Oh my gosh, this episode here. I think I ended up choosing the wrong place to watch it because I ended up watching it at a car shop while I was getting my car oil changed, and I'm in public around people, and it was kind of hard to hold my tears back because there were moments where it was just so touching, because the moment where Obi-Wan and Leia are on the vehicle with all the other
on the pickup truck,
on the pickup truck, they're on there with the stormtroopers, and that moment when he said to her, whenever I look at her, I just think of a mother. And I was like, oh no, the tears, the waterworks are coming, and I'm not in public, and I'm looking around don't don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm watching Obi-Wan, okay? Don't judge me. But it was amazing seeing how this whole thing is because of seeing Anakin back, because that was that certain scene there. I was just like fangirling for a moment because, you know, I'm a huge fan of the prequels and I grew up around that time with it, seeing it as a kid, and just seeing it again now, years later, it's wonderful. And then the mysteriousness behind Reva's backstory is what's also interesting as well. I like how they're not giving away too much, because, you know, sometimes they would just kind of throw it in your face and you're just like, oh okay, so that's what happened. But in here, they're just like, we're going to leave the thinking up to you, but we're just going to give you like little breadcrumbs here and there and sprinkle them there in this episode to give you that. And also with Anakin, that scene, that it's the whole thing. The whole thing is it's crazy, because like I was scared as well, and I'm like, even watching it, you feel the anger from him, you feel the rage, and I was like, within this moment, this is not Darth Vader, this is Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting. Anakin was really like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And that scene where they show the fire in his lenses, chills, literal chills I had got with
but that's the power of that scene though, right? Where you know Obi-Wan's gonna survive because he's in episode 4, but you're still afraid for him. It's just like, holy crap, like what's gonna that's how well that scene was shot, that you're actually worried for a character that you know is gonna make it. So that's kudos on that, because it was just terrifying. But Nani, how about you?
Yeah.
Were you bored by it? Was it just like, whatever, another hour of television?
No, blew my mind, blew my fragile little mind. I was not expecting them to show Vader so soon and so much, honestly. From the beginning, the whole, when they like connect his limbs and underwater, and you see like how he's put together, and how the breastplate is actually kind of like nailed onto him, and the whole thing, because we've seen like, you know, some shots here and there of like the back of his head without the helmet and stuff like that, but this was just so visceral. And the mask sounds better than ever. James Earl Jones just pulled it out of the park, because he sounded like he did in the original trilogy, but somehow even more menacing. So he was better than, you know, that little bit that we hear in the prequels, and better than in Rogue One. So it was just like, oh my God, man, you just became Darth Vader all over again. So we have that combination of like Anakin moving the way that Anakin moves under the suit, but then James Earl Jones's voice. So we get Darth Vader and Anakin in the one character, and it's just insanely good. We get all that beautiful vulnerability between Obi-Wan and Leia, and how Leia is trying to, because he's so far gone that he has lost, you know, trust in humanity completely. He doesn't trust at all. And to see, you know, that childlike innocence in Leia trying to like open his eyes to the fact that, you know, fine, there's bad people out there, but there's also good people. So, because he was completely, as soon as they landed, he thought it was misguided to have trusted the fake Jedi, and it turns out that he was trustworthy. You know, Tal was just arriving late, but they were there to respond. So it's you get this combination of like the vulnerability and like that softness, you know, at the beginning of the episode, and then bam, horror Vader, which is like the Vader that we thought we needed in Rogue One. No. This is next level.
Hallway Vader is just like,
we thought Hallway Vader was like, oh yeah, this is the Vader
that was him on an off day.
No, this is something else. This is terrifying. This is horror movie villain. I walk slow. My prey isn't getting away from me. So why do I need to run? Minimal movements, one-handed battling, like just you know. Basically toying with Obi-Wan. That was barely a lightsaber battle, you know. So it was just, and the soundtrack is I commented about it on the first 2 episodes. I mean, John Williams is something else always, but the soundtrack, especially in this episode, one, in the tension in that Vader scene, how when Vader kind of senses Obi-Wan, he stops, the music stops with him, and then he does the creepy like looking for him, and then the music comes back on.
Yes.
And then I really loved that scene when Reva lands at the Inquisitor's base. If you pay attention, it sounds like a combination of like the Imperial March with Vader's theme, and then switches into like something new just for her. So that's when me and Josbando started talking about it, and we think what Mo was saying is what's happening, that she's trying to destroy Obi-Wan so she can be placed right next to Vader and be in a position to destroy Vader. And to her, Obi-Wan doesn't matter, because why? Obi-Wan abandoned us. So using him as bait. So, and it was like with the music foreshadowed to that. So it's really cool that Reva has her own theme as well, which is a combination of all those things. So I think it was just amazing and completely blown away. Yeah. I rewatched it again today and kept like rewinding certain scenes, even though I've already watched it. It's like, oh, it's so good. It doesn't get old. I can't wait for the whole thing to be out and then just watch it all in a row.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can tell definitely that the show was supposed to be a movie, because it just flows so
it flows perfectly.
Flows so well. I want to do like a quick shout out though, because I think a lot of people miscredit the music in the show a little bit, because John Williams did write the theme music for Obi-Wan Kenobi, but the composer of the show is actually Natalie Holt. So it's the first female composer in a Star Wars project. So I think it's important to make a note of that, because people always talk about Ludwig Göransson and Mandalorian, but a lot of people are talking about John Williams composing the show, but it's actually a woman composing it for the first time in a Star Wars project. And I mean, John Williams deserves the kudos because he did the theme music. But you gotta give credit where credit's due.
Yes.
But yeah, holy shit balls. Yeah, like
that is correct to say right there.
Absolutely.
It was so incredible. One thing that for me was just kind of like a highlight of the episode. Obviously, the lightsaber fight. That's obvious. But it's the beginning. You were talking about it, Nani, specifically, and it's when we were at the Fortress Inquisitorius, which for me was just like amazing, because I love Jedi Fallen Order. I love that video game. I've played it like 4 or 5 times. So to actually see like a video game location in live action, I was just like, thank you. I was like, for all those people that are just like, oh, Lucasfilm doesn't care about continuity, and I'm like, what? Do you not see the Fortress Inquisitorius in live action? Please. But that scene was so poignant, because when they're like in their little council table thing, what's her because he's the 5th brother, she's Reva's the 3rd sister. What designation is the other girl? I always forget what the other Inquisitor is, because we don't know her name. She just has a designation.
I don't think they even mentioned what number.
I know she has a number because of the action figure, but but I
mean, they probably have a number, but
whatever. Not the point. Well, but the point of that scene is that for me was very important, because it's kind of, I was watching it and I'm just, oh my God, this is kind of like the Anti-Jedi Council in a way. This is kind of framing how the Inquisitors work in an opposite way to how the Jedi are supposed to work. Because where the Jedi fell, in the Jedi Council at the time of the prequels is not the Jedi Council that
should have been
the Jedi to be at. But it's still, the concept of the Jedi Council is about collaboration and like all the Jedi coming together for the greater good and trying to help everybody and be uplifting together. And all of a sudden we see like this Inquisitors Council or whatever the hell it's called, and there's a big throne, which there isn't in the Jedi Council. All the thrones are kind of not thrones, all the seats are kind of the same, but here's just like there's a clear hierarchy, and all the Inquisitors aren't about the collective of what we're supposed to do. It's all about like, how can I backstab you so that I can become Grand Inquisitor, and I'll work together with you as long as I have to until I can stab you in the back so that I can gain that power. So I'm just like, oh my God, this is perfect to kind of frame how the Jedi were subverted now to just become this evil version of themselves, especially when you consider that most of the Inquisitors used to be Jedi. It's like you're not just corrupted like into the dark side, you're just corrupted in the whole way that you operate. Before you were like in up high in the clouds of Coruscant with like daylight, and everything is beautiful, bright and lit, and now you're just underwater in this dark thing. So it's just like literally an inversion of the Jedi Council. So for me, I was like, okay, this is a good job, Lucasfilm.
Which visually looks really, really good in comparison to Mustafar, because then you have like lava, water, and then the lava super bright, and like Darth Vader just looking out of it, and he looks so menacing just standing there. And then
in the most uncomfortable throne ever. Like I saw it, I'm like, and just having flown in from California, that flight was like 3.5 hours, and I feel like my ass was just gonna, like, I don't know. It was, those Spirit Airlines seats are the worst thing that I've ever sat on. And when I was watching Vader sat on that thing, I'm like, I get it, bro. I get it. Even with robo butt cheeks, that must not be like the best thing to sit on. Which I felt good that he just got up in a couple minutes, because he's just like, okay, I gotta get up on this thing. But that's awesome castle. Oh my god.
But honestly,
I don't know. I would want to live there, but it's good. Yeah.
But honestly, if I'm gonna have a chair like that, I want to like seat warmer to it. Like if it's like hot or cold, I want a little temperature on it, a little cup holder. Yes, the massage chair. I want something nice. Like, I'm gonna be on the dark side. I want to be comfortable. Okay.
They did say that the dark side has cookies, so
that too. I love cookies.
It's just Padmé with a tray of cookies, and it's just like, not the best server. Padmé's kind of a creepy dude.
Just don't trick me with raisins. If it's chocolate chip, I'm good. Don't lie to me and tell me it's chocolate chip and then it's raisins.
It's the dark side. They're definitely lying to you.
Don't
it's
do
just
that.
Palpatine cackling from Coruscant. It's like, raisins. The hate flow.
It's a chocolate chip.
I don't need like that.
Raisin cookies.
Raisin oatmeal.
That is
true evil.
Or you think it's like a nice sugar cookie, and it's just like an oatmeal. That's the worst when you're expecting to eat one thing and then it just turns out to be something completely different. That's the worst. That's the worst. Or eating an olive. I don't know. Maybe that's the diet at Mustafar, just olives and oatmeal and raisin cookies. Anyway, I get distracted so easily. But that everyone's talking about the same point and scene right at the pickup truck, which I will always call it a pickup truck because that's what it was. It's a it's a space pickup truck. God damn it! And that scene with like Leia and Obi-Wan is so important because it kind of keeps tying the show together. Everyone talks about Darth Vader and Obi-Wan's fight, but I think the most important thing about this episode is that even though we did have the badass fight, it's still anchored by that relationship of those two characters. And what Mo was saying about how Leia is the one that's bringing Obi-Wan back into the fray to an extent and reigniting that spark of hope, that kind of ties in right to what Leia said in Last Jedi about being the spark that will burn the First Order down, all that stuff. It's just like, it comes from then because she's lighting that spark once again in Obi-Wan. And it's so beautiful. So it's just kudos to those two actors. Like that little baby actress, like I don't know her name.
She's amazing.
God bless her. Like to be that young and to do a performance that nuanced, it's good job. Good
that
job.
hope
She deserves
in her
the world.
face when she thinks that Obi-Wan might be her dad. It's like, are you my father? And then having to break her heart. And then for the first time we hear Obi-Wan talking about his past. Pre, being taken, and then you see the true horror of what the Jedi Order does to children, and the fact that he feels that in a situation like Leia's, which is a horrible situation, that he was in that same situation when he was a kid and taken from his family. So you see him for the first time acknowledging those flaws in the Jedi Order, because he was very, adamant and kind of defending how it works and never really speaking against it and trying to control himself all the time and never letting himself fall in love and all these things. And now realizing how it really affects children and how they end up growing up. So I thought that conversation was really, really important as well. And especially going back to then that clash between him and Anakin and realizing, maybe we went really wrong with this kid around the way. Like it's probably not all his fault and not all Palpatine's fault. Like the Jedi
maybe
Order,
it was us.
We kind of failed the kid. So
maybe we should have
let him see his mom,
maybe we should have gone to Tatooine and gotten rid of that whole slavery stuff. Maybe that was part of the Jedi calling to get rid of slavery. And maybe bring Shmi along so they can have a picnic on Sundays or something. But who's to tell that Who knew that children need their parents? Who knew? Because
Yeah.
I sure didn't. I thought kidnapping by a religious sect was the right thing to do.
We're
But,
very holy people. We're here to protect.
Yeah. As
We're
we
Yeah.
steal your
here to
children.
protect. Just the kids, not you.
Not you, just
Yeah.
give me the kid.
We just
Right.
need your kid. Your kid's strong with the force. We're gonna take him. Oh,
Yeah.
this is so nice. This is so wonderful. Oh, and also your child's not gonna see you again. They can't
Ever.
talk to you.
Mhm.
You're never gonna see him again. Wait, what?
It's like,
Wait,
you're,
hold
wait,
on.
you're not taking me to the penthouse in
Nope.
Coruscant?
Just
Like,
kidnapping my
no,
kid.
you get
No.
to keep working those fields or whatever you do. And we take the kid. It's like, oh, thank you. Thanks, Jedi. That's why you're not the High Republic anymore. But Jesus.
But
Christ.
we did got now we know there's out there another Kenobi. Unbeknownst to
I've seen people talk about that. I'm like, people are just like Ray Kenobi. Maybe it's like he's the uncle. I'm like,
it still
okay,
happened.
okay. It could happen. It could happen. I guess. Maybe it's some mixed Kenobi Palpatine thing that happened. Who the hell knows? Maybe Ray's mom through Ray's mom. It's the Kenobi lineage. So I don't know. We'll see. But then again, that calls into question then so his bro wasn't strong in the Force then, or not strong enough,
Mm.
Or maybe they were just needed one Kenobi at a time.
or maybe just Obi-Wan was born with a beautiful beard and a mullet, and they're like,
We'll choose the
Got-
one who's strong with the beard.
I
and
feel
facial
strong
hair,
with the-
facial
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah, I agree. Mhm.
Like, yeah.
In that
we're
case, the
sensing
Jedi
something
did.
with this one.
in that case, the Jedi might have done a good decision. I guess Obi-Wan does have that glorious beard.
He
does.
does.
There's a reason they call it Beard Watch for a reason. Every time Ewan grows out the beard. But another thing that I think was really cool about the episode was like the Underground Railroad aspect of it.
Yeah.
With
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
The path.
oh my god, I forgot what her name was from Game
Tala.
of Thrones. Thank you. She was amazing. I was just because obviously they didn't reveal anything through the trailers. They just show that she's an Imperial officer. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, when she just goes bang bang, he just stabs the
Yeah.
stormtroopers. I was just like, oh shit, plot twist. Here we go. I love this. You know, I want Star Wars to surprise me. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is an Underground Railroad situation, and Quinlan Voss was here, and like all these Jedi.
That was
I'm
amazing.
just like,
I was not
just like-
expecting that when they dropped Quinlan Voss. It's like Quinlan was here. What?
Oh yes. Now that's a little theory. Someone threw a theory at me. So like I didn't know O'Shea Jackson was gonna be in it. He said
No.
he's gonna be in the show. I saw him tweeted it. It was dealing with the whole thing with Moses, and he ended up saying like, oh, just imagine how they'll react when I'm in it. And I'm just like, he's gonna be in it. And then someone, at me on Twitter, and we're like, what if he is playing as that character? And I was like,
Mm,
the silence is loud with this one.
Well, because I mean, I don't think you drop a name like that and then don't follow up.
Yes, because most of the time they would do that, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna forget about that. And you're just like, wait, what about that? You
Well, and
dropped
I
it.
think this is the first time we've got real confirmation that he survived Order
Holy shit.
66, because I don't think we'd ever been confirmed that he had, 100% survived. So we get that name drop. We get the amazing quote.
remind me, please.
It was only when you close your eyes will the truth be revealed, or something like that.
Oh,
Only will you see the truth, and or only will you see, and then Leia asks him, see what? And he says, the way. But it's very
Mhm,
about closing yourself to all your physical senses and opening yourself up to the Force, which is the whole way that Obi-Wan ends up teaching Luke later on.
your eyes can deceive you.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh shit! I totally forgot about that. Thank you.
I'm here to help.
You just blew my mind about the Quinlan thing, because I did think it was just like a throwaway, like
Mm.
verbal cameo. She's like, oh, let's just
Yeah.
acknowledge Quinlan. And I had seen O'Shea's tweet, but I was just like, oh, I have no idea how to interpret this. I'm very bad at like connecting some things like that way. But now that you said it, holy crap, that would that would bring, like Joda would say, brings warm feelings to my heart.
Yes.
So please, that would be. It's interesting though, because I want to see all these things, but now it's just we have to put it in perspective because this is episode 3, so we're literally
3
like halfway
episodes,
point.
yeah.
So
3
everything,
episodes in.
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's
So
just like
fast.
we're. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but we're half done with the series.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that.
Exactly, it's terrible to say. And it's
So
just like so
sad.
many things that like we're wanting. Obviously, now that's a new one on my list, but also the flashback things, as I think every like with this episode, like my theory of flashbacks has for the percentage probability has gone down a little bit because I'm like, oh, maybe there's just no time for this. But
I mean, we did already see a visual of Anakin,
very true,
with the robe and everything,
which was scary. It was just
unmasked.
scary. Ugh.
Oh, it was really scary
was.
from like really
It was
far away
unsettling,
and like
yeah.
really cold and yeah.
That
with
They
the
stare.
like the scowl, yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my God. I was just feeling it as I'm sitting in there, in the waiting area, just looking at it. I'm like, hold on, let me pause this. I paused
This is
it.
so creepy. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that's Anakin. I'm like,
Yep.
this is scary. And then what's crazy too is how you see how the panic in Obi-Wan's face
Oh,
every
yeah.
time he felt the
Oh, yeah.
presence of Anakin nearby. You just see the panic in him. And I'm just like, it's crazy how he's just blocked himself off from the Force. And he's
Mhm.
become this, this vulnerable old man named Ben, who's just,
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
he feels helpless in the moment since he's blocked himself off. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is scary for him. Because like before we saw him, he was like, Anakin, you were my brother. You were the chosen one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have
And
the
that
high
was
ground.
Yeah, I have the high ground. Like
Not
we
anymore.
saw
Yeah.
that, but
Not
not
anymore.
anymore.
Obi-Wan high ground does not exist anymore, or at least right now.
No.
It was
He's got the scorched ground. That's what he has.
oh
Oh, God.
God, that was so hard to watch, honestly, because he was afraid to even turn on his lightsaber. And
Yes.
the moment he does, it's not even when he's facing him, and it's when he's running away and hears his
scared.
voice for the first time, and from fear he lights it on and then kind of like turns it off again and runs away. So it's just
Mhm.
he's afraid to even use his own power, and it's just horrible to watch. And Ewan McGregor played that so
Yeah.
well.
You-
The
you-
fear,
yeah.
the confusion, the guilt, the what have you become? What you
Yes.
have
Best
made
line
me.
of the show. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh.
Quote right there.
Oh
I
my
was just
God.
like,
So
oh my
good.
God.
And like I would say, like James Earl Jones' voice just lends all that gravitas to like, I just say it 3 words and I destroy all of you with my voice. And
Well,
What
that
were
to
you
that
gonna say?
point, I was reading. I had a theory, and then I started to read about it a little bit, and it looks like they did some of that like AI voice thing for
Okay.
James Earl Jones, because I was like, he sounds like exactly like original trilogy
original, yeah.
James Earl Jones. Because I remember like in Rogue One, like I mean, he sounded like Vader. Obviously, it's James Earl Jones, but you can still tell it's just like okay, it's older James Earl Jones. So voice is not like 100% there. Neither was like in Rebels, the voice was a little different, but here it was just like 100.
It was so good.
So like the operating theory here,
Okay.
and apparently in the credits too, they have like the company that does the AI speech thing. So it's just like that. Yeah, James Earl Jones did the performance, but then it's
Yeah.
augmented
Yeah.
by AI
Well, then
to kind of get
kudos
his
because
voice
it
back.
sounds
Yeah.
amazing. It really
I mean,
is.
it's not confirmed. This is just
Yeah,
it is not
but it's
confirmed. Yeah.
incredibly intimidating. It really is. I mean, they pulled that off so well because like the first time, let's just talk about the Vader scene because we have to. Horror Vader.
We got there. Yeah, we're here. We're here.
Do it.
When-
Let's go.
When what Portia was saying, like his fear every time he senses that Vader is around, but right before Vader shows up, that he's like stumbling around because it's so intense, that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you started there and then you hear like people screaming in the street and running away. So you start with this like ridiculous amount of fear and then you kind of just see his shadow against the wall. And you're like,
Mhm.
no, they're not going full Vader right now.
Yeah.
And then they do.
You can't confuse that silhouette.
But somebody else keep going because what happens next? I was not expecting Disney to go this dark with Vader.
Yes, I was just surprised. Like first he grabbed this first victim, just pulled him outside the house. I said, oh my gosh,
Yep.
no. And then the child runs out,
Oh my
God.
screams out, father, and then he just snaps the neck. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, they're really going dark with this one. Like,
Yeah.
oh my
I was like, they
God.
just broke a kid's neck, and he
On
like
camera,
no
like
hesitation.
on camera,
Yeah.
broke a kid's neck. I was just like, whoa.
Because most of
Yeah,
the
they
time
didn't
they
even
would do
hide
it
it.
off
They just-
screen.
Yeah,
wasn't
or you
looked
would hear
terrifying,
it
yeah.
or something, but so terrifying. And he's not even
And then
saying a word.
dragging-
He's walking slowly. Yeah, that one to me was actually worse than the kid when he starts dragging the woman behind him as she's
Oh,
screaming and
yes.
choking, and he's like strolling down the street like
It's just
nobody's
another
business.
Tuesday. Just another Tuesday for Vader.
His walk is just so menacing. I'm just like, it's like thinking about the serial killers, Jason.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just walking. He's just
Yeah.
walking with his
Because they wouldn't
machete in his
chase.
hand.
Yeah, they would always just walk because it's like, I'm gonna find you. It's not a
You're
problem.
not going anywhere. Like,
It's
you think you're
interesting.
getting
It's-
far, but you're not.
It's interesting though, because to me, I don't know about you guys, weigh in please. But to me, even though it's doing the Vader walk and everything, you can, at least to me, it felt like it's Hayden under the suit. Because it doesn't feel like as stiff as it did like in the original trilogy, or as stiff like in Rogue One. You know, it still had like some person, maybe I'm just reading or projecting too much into it, but I'm just like that. I feel that Hayden is in the suit. And it's not just some stunt performer, you know, doing everything.
Yeah.
It's Hayden. And that for me made it even more intimidating, because he's like, oh crap, like this is Anakin Skywalker.
Which how amazing must it have been for him, because he only got to wear the suit for like a little bit in the prequel trilogy, and you could tell that they didn't do anything to make it fit him. It looked like big
Right.
on him. So being able to pull it off this way, like I get to play Vader for real for the first time. I can't imagine being him right now and being like, yeah, I pulled it off. You guys criticized me for decades and I just pulled this off.
And it's so nice to see that he's getting the love that he deserves. Because both of them, like everybody, like, you know, with Ewan and Hayden, they're finally getting the love that they deserve, because they're hearing it from the people that grew up with it. Because when I was a kid, I wasn't really into Star Wars. My brother and my dad would constantly have it on TV, and I'll just be coming from out my room playing with my dollies. Let me grab a little drink. And there was the moment where, you know, Obi-Wan and Anakin were fighting, and there was just the scene where I have the high ground. You underestimated my power. And then, you know, zoom, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then that's when the other scene where we're seeing Anakin being transformed into Darth Vader, that was just in that moment, I just dropped my mouth. I was like, my mouth just dropped. As a kid, I'm like, this is so awesome. But let me go back in my room and play with my dollies. But you know, it was amazing, because, like, you know, it left an impact on me the same way the original trilogy left an impact on the older generation, and then the sequels doing with the kids now. And that's 100%. That's what it's all about. It's about the kids, you know?
Yeah.
It's for me, it's interesting. It's a good point that you're talking about, like how it is generational, because I see a lot of the backlash that the sequels have gotten. And for me, it's very interesting to see that a lot of the people that are doing the negativity are the people that, I don't know if it's like a reverse trauma type of thing, where like they did it to you, so now you're doing it to them type of thing. It's like some of the prequel kids, it's just like, oh, well, the prequels are the best thing on earth and the sequels are just garbage. You know, I'm just like, why are you doing that? You didn't like it when people did it to you, right?
Yes.
And like the prequels had their renaissance, and now like the sequels, like I really enjoy the sequels, honestly, with the exception of one of the films. But for the most part, I think they're wonderful. And it's one of those things where, like, yeah, they're Star Wars, they're canon, they're gonna age beautifully.
And
the
every
most important
trilogy
thing
has its own magic, and it speaks to a different generation too.
Exactly, especially for the kids that grew up with it. Because
And
one of the great things about like celebrations, like seeing all the Rey cosplay, you know, it's just like there's just a whole group of like little girls that like didn't have like a Jedi to look up to, and now it's just like, oh, I can be Rey because like I see a hero that looks like me type of thing. Which is again the power of representation.
More relatable to a younger generation too, with, you know, depicting her so young and so powerful and so awesome and so compassionate. Like when she's running away and she knows this is her ticket home, and she's still making Tala turn around, save Ben, bring him back to me, you know, and it's fearless, honestly.
Being a general already.
I want to see how her interactions with Reva are going to be now, especially if Reva's doing this all because of revenge and not because she really turned completely, and to see another young person that maybe isn't showing force powers that much completely, but you can tell she's really empathetic already. So who knows if she already has, some powers there. But
turn Reva to the light side already.
But those interactions, I'm really looking forward to it. Could you imagine if Leia turned her with the power of positivity?
It's Leia, so I can see it.
Yeah.
She's like, why can't you just be nice? Why are you doing this?
Look at me, look at my face, look at my little baby robot.
Oh my gosh, her voice is just so pleasing to hear. Because like at the beginning of the episode, she asks him, what is the force? Like, what is it? And he's like, well, have you ever been afraid of the dark? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, when you turn the light on, it's basically like that. How do you feel? She's like, I feel safe. And I was just like, but then thinking about it too, it's crazy how he mentions that the force is to make you feel safe. And then within this moment, trying to use the force with fighting against, I don't really think using the force, but he doesn't feel safe. That's the thing I'm saying. He says it's supposed to feel safe, but with him doing it and trying to save her in the previous episode, he doesn't feel.
I think that's totally purposeful.
Opposite of safe. The opposite of safe.
Well, because he's not connected yet to the force the way he was, so he isn't that dark, and that's why that fight is in the dark. That's where he is. He's afraid, literally, and that's why Vader fight is in the dark, because that's where he's at in that comparison, right? When he's talking to Leia about it, that's the manifestation of that. Yeah. He doesn't feel safe because he's not connected to the force, hence he's in the dark with fucking Vader.
Well, yeah, because
looming over
here. He purposely cut himself off, to keep Luke safe, and so he started to he started to internalize that staying away from the force was the way to stay safe, and connecting with the force is unsafe. So he still has to break through that mental barrier, and you can see him more and more trying to reach out to Qui-Gon. So I'm really hoping that's gonna happen, and he actually does.
It's guaranteed
because the way that he was destroyed, because he was destroyed by Vader in this episode, and then literally dragged through fire, and force choked, his lightsaber taken away from him voluntarily. Like it was a complete destruction.
But I think that's important that he was literally dragged through the fire, because fire is a symbol of rebirth, right? So for Vader, he was in fire, and he was born as
into the dark
Vader,
side.
and now Obi is gonna be reborn as that, as the Obi-Wan we know from A New Hope. And I saw someone on Twitter, I think it was Twitter or like YouTube or something, whatever, on social media, like say that, especially comparing it with what Vader says in A New Hope. He's like, oh, when I left you, I was about to learn, and I am the master. So it means that there has to be like a second fight where Obi just destroys Vader.
Oh yeah, because otherwise that conversation in A New Hope doesn't make any sense. Like,
right, because it's just like I was your daddy back then, I'm your daddy now. So
always have been.
always have. So no, so we need the rematch, and Obi needs to destroy. Oh my god, they need to do the Rebels thing where like Obi just damages his helmet in a way where like reveals
we see half his face or something. Oh my god.
And then it's just Hayden's voice combined with James Earl Jones, like they did in Rebels, where it's just like Matt Latner's voice with James Earl Jones when he's talking to Ahsoka. Okay, maybe I should not do that to myself, because then I'll be disappointed if they don't do it.
But I mean, we have to get it, because we're not that far away from Zen Obi-Wan, who destroys Darth Maul in one hit. So, I feel like something cathartic has to happen, either with his relationship with Leia, or maybe like meeting up with Quinlan, who saves Leia maybe from Reva, who knows? And then him maybe connecting with Qui-Gon, and a combination of all of that actually makes him find his center, and we get Obi-Wan again, not just this destroyed Ben Kenobi.
Oh my god, that's but
again, there's only three episodes though, so I have no idea how they're gonna get all of this done.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
It's just crazy, like, oh my god. But with Reva so far, I honestly like how she is just taking her own road. Like, she's not listening to the Inquisitors. She's like, I don't care. Even if you are the Grand Inquisitor,
I'm gonna stab you.
I'm gonna stab you. and I'm gonna go on and get Kenobi because who told me to go and get him? Darth Vader. But he told me, you know, like I'm gonna do this. I don't care who you are. Like when she walked into the room too, because like the brother, he just was like, he ended up using the force on her, telling her like, that's my seat, like it's mine, like you're not gonna get this. You know, for a second, you know, she kind of let it get to her, but then she like, you know, pulled herself together. She was like, well, yeah.
Because she kind of touches herself around the waist, so I think she has a wound maybe from when they were attacked as younglings.
That's what I was.
There was like a
too.
vulnerability moment there, like I'm gonna attack you, but not yet. And then when he leaves, because that he's saying you're gonna get what you deserve, and I'm gonna get what I deserve, and she's like, I hope so. I hope you get what you deserve. So.
Oh shit. Okay.
So there's a lot to grasp from this character, and she's way too good at what she does because nobody had really thought to look into that one room. Like those both those stormtroopers like one time go into the room where they were hiding and they think there's nothing going on because they always underestimate droids and they assume that the droid can't understand what they're saying or communicate or anything, when that droid was about this close of whacking their heads to death.
I love that he was gonna do it with a wrench. I was just like, oh,
I know.
this is gonna get.
He's like, I'm about that life. You want to find out?
It's like you're not the first. You're not the first. You won't be the last. So,
yes.
Do not underestimate me.
Like Leia said, never underestimate a droid.
Yeah, and Leia keeps making friends with.
Yeah, he was
a huge droid. Yeah.
This was a huge droid.
Yeah, but you can already see, you know, Leia making all these droid friends everywhere she goes, and she's gonna have a droid army. But I digress.
Am I the only one that sees Leia's droid? It looks like a weird droid version of Mickey Mouse. I'm like, Disney, you're putting yourself with the flappy ears.
I don't know. I'd always look to me more like a ladybug, honestly.
Ladybug and batteries not included. Like some of those droids from that movie. I think there's a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, obviously it's cute. It's just like they have to make a cute little droid with the little flappy ears.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, Reva was just right on that. She found that room where nobody else had even thought to look.
How did Reva get to the other side of the tunnel?
I did wonder that. But then I'm just like, the force.
Yes.
Well, I kind of thought that maybe there's a maze of tunnels through there, and she kind of just got ahead.
Okay.
Well, maybe
she
Leia
seems to be really
wrong,
powerful too.
way.
So she was probably searching for whoever was at the end and just like targeted that and somehow was able to make it.
True.
I'm sure that,
just speculating here. So.
I did think that too. I did.
It's like she was behind
like, whoa,
and suddenly.
Oh yeah, you just got into this. How are you at the back? And then he was like, don't be cinema sins. It's just it's a story. Yeah, it's a story. There's an explanation. They're gonna release a comic book or some book or a reference novel that's gonna show the tunnels. It's like this is how much this is how you can gain 20 minutes.
It makes sense there are other exits because we saw Tala get off somewhere and not cross path with Reva. So there are definitely multiple exits. So I'll give her.
So it's not a plot hole. It's not a plot hole. There we go.
I think there's no plot hole.
Not a plot hole.
Their pacing is really good, though. I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were talking about it for episode parts 1 and 2. It's just that it hit the ground running. It's just like, okay, we're going straight into the action. We're not going to waste any time. This is, where Obi-Wan's getting off Tatooine first episode, which for me was just like, oh, I was like,
already?
I thought we were going to take a little more time on this. We're on the third planet on the third episode.
Yep. Full on Vader. Quillen Voss drops.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, which is a good moment to stop. I think we've done a good amount of reviewing. So now it's the fun part where we do a little bit of speculation, which we're usually wrong on everything, but it's still fun to try to put the puzzle together and see where things are going. So based on our whole discussion and where part 3 has ended, what do we want to see or what do we expect to see from part 4 and beyond? Porsche, you're our guest, so let's start with you. What are your speculations here?
Now that's the thing. I used to do speculations, but then all of a sudden I stopped myself because I used to get my hopes high up. I'll be like, it didn't go the way that I wanted it to. But I'm just curious on what's going to happen between Leia and Reva. That's the part there, because that cliffhanger there. I'm just like, she's like, she's talking all nice to her, but it's not so nice. You hear the menacingness behind it, like, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And like Leia kind of knew something wasn't right, and she just backed off, and then he just was like, okay, that's it. That's the end of that story. That episode.
Illegal cliffhanger. Yep.
That I want to see what's going to happen between them, and also Obi-Wan. Like, I know he's okay. We know he's okay, but I just want to know, like, is he okay?
He will be okay. Right now, he got burned by Owen. Now he got burned by Vader. It's just like it's not catching a break.
Oh, 2 burns. So that's that.
A psychological one from Owen, then like a physical one from Vader. He's not doing too
much. He got both psychological and physically burned by
He's
Vader.
Gonna need back therapy and psychological therapy after this.
And wait until we get Qui-Gon spiritual sketch that, like,
oh yes.
So you get the trifecta like defeat.
Yes. Hey, Mo, on that, what are you expecting now going forward in the future?
I think we're on the high wagon that we want to see Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, make it happen. Like,
please.
Please, like, at least just give us Liam Neeson's voice. Like, just make it happen.
No,
like,
you give me his body. I want his body. I want his body, his mind, his soul, and his voice. I want everything in there. Liam Neeson, come on, you're not busy. You're not busy.
The ponytail and everything.
Yes, put that wig on, goddammit. You put that wig on and you fucking get paid that Disney money. Stop playing coy. Oh my God.
Well, I hate to break your heart, but technically he wasn't strong enough to like corporeally show himself like Yoda was able to.
He's had 10 years. He's had 10 years. He can do it. He's by himself. He's like the only one there. Yeah. It's just like
so Qui-Gon, stop being lazy. Okay.
Get yourself together. Get yourself together, man.
Make yourself corporeal, man.
It only takes 4 years to get a degree. You had 10. Come on. You could have gotten 2 degrees.
Technically more. That's 10 years plus the amount of years he's been dead. So
that exactly. So who's being lazy now? There we go. Qui-Gon Jinn. You're my boy. But get your act together. Nani, how about you?
Obviously, I want Qui-Gon, yes. And aside from what everybody else is saying, because I'm on board for all of that, we already had Tamora doing a cameo. I kind of want to see maybe one of the older clone
Commander
troopers,
Cody.
Rex, somebody show up, because we know that they're sending them to this like one specific planet, like the younglings and everybody that wants to escape. So it sounds like it's maybe a bigger pre-rebel kind of base. So still hoping to see some familiar faces, because this is the type of show that it's not like non-gratuitous cameos. It actually works with the story.
Pace to something.
So I'm looking forward to that as well. And obviously just to see more of the vulnerability of the characters and how they grow, and obviously get more on not just like Reva's relationship and how it's going to turn out with Leia, but of the backstory, like what led her to here, because there's no reason to show Order 66 from Youngling's point of view again if you're not going to make it pay off by Reva being one of them, and somehow it all connects together. So I'm going to
piggyback on that one.
They love traumatizing
they do. Order 60. How many times have they done Order 66?
Every time, like, honestly, when they did it again, I was like, why are you doing Order 66 again? But then it was an awesome scene, though. It was amazing. Yeah. Like, that scene was amazing. But and the lightsabers, the lightsabers keep looking better and better. That lightsaber has never looked that blue, and that lightsaber has never looked that red. And wow,
they're beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Mo, what were you gonna say about Order 66?
I was just gonna say Order 66. It's like Batman going over again. Like, you lost your parents, and that
We have to
theater,
see
know
the death
story,
every
we have to see it
time.
again every
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Like we have to see Uncle Ben
But
die every time as well.
somehow better, because with Batman, I'm tired. It's just like, okay, I know your parents died, but here it's just like okay, keep torturing me, please. Because I love the pain. I'm a glutton for pain.
We already saw Grogu Order 66. We saw
Yeah.
Younglings Order 66.
Yeah.
We saw
They're just
Ahsoka's
showing it
Order
all
66.
We saw
Fallen Order Order
Kanan
60. Yeah.
post
Kanan,
Yeah,
66.
It's just
Everyone,
all over.
everyone.
They're
It's-
just like, we're gonna show you Order 66, but from different perspectives. Like, we're gonna give it to you. Like, we know you didn't ask for it, but we just want to traumatize you.
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah, just feel the pain. Feel
Just
the
feel
pain
the pain.
constantly
At
for
some
all
point-
generations.
At some point, when they continue Rey's story, she's gonna travel back in time and she's gonna have Order 66, because everyone's gonna go through it. But now to piggyback on your point about Reva going forward, I won't be surprised if she has redemption. That's totally cool with me. The only thing that I want them to kind of be careful with is I don't want them to do the same thing that they did with Trilla in Fallen Order, and just do like the same thing. We're like, oh, Trilla comes back to the dark side, but then Vader shuts her down. I want, if Reva comes back, I want her to, ride off into the sunset and, and
Join the
live.
rebel family and
yeah.
Like, she
So
could
it's-
retire. Like,
Yeah,
who wants this negativity? I'm gonna just go and farm or
Right.
open my shop or something. Like, that's what I want to
Yeah.
see, and that's
It's
what
like,
I've been
set up-
praying.
Set up your Etsy and just like be cool, by the not a Scarif, but some other beach planet that you can just relax. And so that's my thing. Just don't do the Trilla thing. If you're gonna bring her back, sure, but let her live then, and so that she can be happy. Because Star Wars
Yes.
characters deserve happiness. Because they don't fucking get it.
I know.
Except for
Hashtag
the
bring
frog
back Ben
lady.
Solo.
Frog lady.
She did have a little happy. She had her happy ending.
Oh my
but,
god!
you know.
For now, because you don't know, Mando season 3, bam, just decapitates her or something. Oh my god!
Oh no.
Protect Frog Lady.
Don't do
Please.
that.
Please
Protect
Frog
her.
lady. Always.
Oh my
Please.
god! But besides everyone's projections, like I agree with everything. But the whole Quinlan Voss thing kind of threw me out for a loop. So now I'm just like, oh, maybe
Be
next episode,
amazing.
yeah. Maybe next episode is Commander Cody and Quinlan Voss. They're gonna come back to like Quinlan Voss help Obi-Wan and Commander Cody help Reva. It's just like, the two sides coming to help the respective, people. But like for me, obviously Qui-Gon is the big one. But then I'm still holding out for the flashback.
The flashback.
Before I thought we were gonna have flashbacks at the beginning of the
Yeah.
show to kind of like establish everything. But now I think the flashback's probably gonna come in like at the end as a coda to be like, oh, the happier times of Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's gonna be like, oh, adventure's over. You already talked to Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan's at peace, and then like it's just a memory of like, oh, when they were brothers in arms during the Clone Wars. You guys, God damn it, you will. Like, I refuse to believe that they hired Hayden Christensen to
Just to
just
be under
keep
the
him in the
mask?
suit. Yeah,
And then
just,
do
even
that
though
one cameo. Yeah, he already
even
did
though
it
we,
once.
we see him in the distance, but no, I was like, no, we gotta see him in the Clone Wars armor. We gotta see him in that Clone Wars armor, and
Yeah.
it has to happen. It has to happen. So those are my things. So now I got like that new Quinlan Voss thing is throwing me out for a loop, because now I need it.
Yes.
Now I
Oh,
need
yeah.
it. Especially if it's O'Shea. I think that would be
Oh
be
yeah.
amazing. Yeah. But this has been amazing. So much fun.
Oh,
So
we're at
much
the end
fun.
already?
Yes.
No, it was getting
Unfortunately.
so good. Oh my gosh. Really, it really was.
Time flies when you're having fun.
This was so much fun.
And this has
Yeah.
been amazing.
That's the power of Vader.
That's the power of Vader. Of Vader and friendship. That's an important thing.
Facts.
But before we wrap up, Portia, where can people find you? Like on the socials, or if you want to like plug anything you're doing currently, go for it so that people can facilitate their finding you.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at
Awesome.
Portia Ariel. So I'm much more on Twitter and TikTok. but you can still follow me on Instagram. I'll still post some stuff every now and then. So yeah. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, I do a little bit of some videos of Marvel and other stuff.
Ooh,
and
cool.
my opinions on things. So yeah, check me out on
Awesome.
there.
And we will be providing links to all of those things down in the description so you can, more easily find her. So please, please, please go check her out. Go check out Sisters with Sabers. Let's help everyone. We know all the ones that always get the clicks. Forget about them. Those opinions don't matter. Listen to our opinions. Listen to Portia's opinions. Listen to the best opinions out there. So please, please follow us, follow her, and then you'll get the best out there.
Oh, can't forget Sabers with. Follow us on Twitter at Sabers with as well for Sisters with Sabers, and Sisters with Sabers on Instagram as well. Can't forget that. I gotta plug in my girls, my
Of
people.
course,
Gotta get them in
always.
there.
Yeah. Sisterhood is important. Well,
Yes.
on that
So-
note, we're only halfway through. We're saddened that it's
Pain,
halfway
yeah.
through, but we are looking forward to what's to come with Obi-Wan Kenobi. We are Triad of the Force. You can find us anywhere that podcasts can be found. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just search for Triad of the Force and you will find us. We have t-shirts and stuff. So just check us out and remember to like, subscribe, leave some comments. Come on, we need some positivity out there. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what we should be talking about, things that matter to you. Let us know. So until next time, may the Force be with you.